So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is on the horizon. I want to talk about the scenes I want to see return from the original, including loads of my favourite smaller moments. But the number one scene I need to see the most is Palmer getting hit by a truck at full speed. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Please, Square Enix, please remake this scene.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I was really happy with 7 Remake, but there were a few scenes that didn't carry over from the original. I was really looking forward to Rufus's epic speech and Avalanche's introduction, but that didn't quite happen in the remake.
No, not quite.
While some of the other scenes were translated and took on a new form, like in the minigame where you're hiding behind pillars to sneak past guards, that was instead integrated into the Valkyrie boss fight. And we know that we are probably revisiting a lot of the same locations and story points as the original, but some might be in a different order, so just working with the original order here.
Have fun!
So Rebirth will probably start around Kalm or in Cloud's retelling of his past. Now the whole twist with Cloud and Zack's identity is my favourite story point in Final Fantasy VII. This part of the story needs to be executed well, and Cloud's past was full of sneaky foreshadowing or clues to the big twist of FF7. Like, Sephiroth isn't looking at Cloud here when he says to visit your families, and if you speak with the cameraman, he kind of states that you're not Cloud.
What are you talking about?
I suppose now that there is voice acting, it might be a little bit harder to pull off the twist if that Shinra trooper has Cloud's voice, so kind of interested to see what they'll do this time around. You get a scene where Sephiroth effortlessly takes on a dragon. There's another scene a bit later too where you come across what he's done to the Midgar Zolom, and they really try to emphasise how powerful Sephiroth is. I want to see these scenes return. Problem is, we've kind of already fought him and chopped our way through skyscrapers, so it might be a bit difficult recreating that sense of how overpowering he is again.
Careful now.
One little line I always remember at the end of the story, Red 13 says, "What a fascinating story," before closing to black. I hope this little line stays in. Hey, trying to grow the channel, my goal is 10,000 subs, so any likes or support would be an amazing help. I mostly cover RPGs in all shapes and sizes, and I do love Final Fantasy. Thank you. Fast forward a bit, in the mines we bump into the Turks, but here's the thing, in the original Rude passes on a message from Reno, who's recovering from their last fight, but in 7 Remake, Rude fought alongside Reno, so Rude will probably be recovering and not present this time. Well, that was my original theory, but we can see from the latest Rebirth trailer that Rude will actually be present and a boss fight here alongside Elena.
She may be new, but she's still a Turk.
Rufus is pretty badass in the original. He generally humiliates Heidegger for his failures, and I want to see him tell Heidegger to stop his stupid horse laugh. While we're infiltrating Shinra to use their ship, Red 13 wears a Shinra trooper suit and walks on 2 legs. I hope I get to see this in 7 Rebirth, but I think that's going to be really difficult to translate to modern visuals. It is something that works in the original because of its goofy style. Barrett wears a sailor suit and Tifa jokes that he should keep it as pajamas. Maybe that'll be an alternative costume for Barrett. And while you're at Costa del Sol, Yuffie gets a part-time job, only so she can rob the store on your way out. That's so Yuffie, and a nice little bit of development with her. Cait Sith, or Catchy, was always a bit of a weird one. I've got a sneak peek of him in a cinematic already. I wouldn't be surprised if they completely scrap the giant stuffed Moogle part of him. Now he reads your fortune and a few different ones are given out, and in the chaos, what you pursue will be yours, but you will lose something dear. That is just instantly cast aside and forgotten about by the cast. But ironically, this kind of becomes a prophecy. You get the Black Materia, and then Aerith dies. I'm thinking if we don't see this fortune return in Rebirth, it may be a clue that Aerith isn't going to die. I personally predict she will die just at a later point in the story. Now, the Gold Saucer is really important to me too with all its minigames. I'd really like to see a faithful representation of the activities here. At this point in the original, some of the attractions are locked off till later on. If they're going to have snowboarding down the mountain in Rebirth, I reckon you'll be able to do a bit of snowboarding in the Gold Saucer first, as in earlier than you could in the original, similar to how you could do a bit of motorbiking earlier in 7 Remake 2. There were these big billboard screens that advertised a new attraction coming soon, and when I was a kid I was excited at the idea of that, but we never got to see what that new attraction would be. Maybe that's a chance for Rebirth to bring something new. Rebirth will cover a lot of the character development for the cast. Looking forward to Barrett versus Dine. Yeah! And I really hope they capture Dine's insanity where he tells Barrett he's going to take Marlene to meet her dead mother. Keeping an eye out for Chocobo Joe. Wutai and Gongaga were completely optional locations in 7. No wait, I suppose you do technically wake up in Gongaga after the Temple of the Ancients, but I reckon they'll be mandatory in a larger part of the story this time. I really liked when you got the drop on Rude and Reno, who are talking about which Avalanche members they fancy the most. We already saw a little reference to this in 7 Remake, where Rude purposely shifts the helicopter to save Tifa, and it just gives a bit more flavour to these characters. I hope we see Zack's family in Gongaga. And there was this ridiculous dino truck monster you could come across there. I reckon that'll be a full-on boss this time around. Cosmo Canyon is a pretty core and memorable part of the story, and for me it kind of serves as a check-in point where you reconvene with Avalanche. Buchenhagen probably has answers for what is going on. I was wondering what he was going to look like, and we get a sneak peek of him in the latest Rebirth trailer. He's an old dude, he looks a little bit like Ramu, and he sits on top of a floating ball. We can't see his lower legs in the trailer, so I'm wondering if he's going to be sitting on a floating ball, or is he just going to fly? Red 13's arc in Cosmo Canyon is one of my top moments in 7. I need to see the climax of this remade, and that's uncovering the truth about his father Seto while howling at the moon, and you see tears coming from the petrified Seto. I hope they stay faithful to this. In the Shinra mansion, there was this one really creepy enemy that would hang from the ceiling, but sometimes fall down and just look really pitiful. I don't even want to try pronouncing that name, but it sounds like more potential boss material to me. Vincent is pretty awesome and provides some answers to the plot. Obviously, Vincent and Yuffie will be mandatory, not optional extra characters like in the original. I love Sid. Rocket Man has gotta have a badass introduction. I'll be looking for his iconic quote, "Sit down and drink your goddamn tea," as well as its general language, which is usually unreadable through all the sentences. And in the back end of Rocket Town, I must see Palmer getting hit by a truck. I don't think they'll do it, but I hope Square hear my pleas. This scene would be amazing. Now we end up returning to the Gold Saucer to get the Temple of the Ancients Keystone, and the entire Avalanche team group up and run through the story. Now, I think this is an incredibly important scene, not just to help recap and explain the story, but in the original, this was the very last time you see the entire team grouped up. After this point, you'll be missing a member. There's a cute moment where Vincent checks in on Sid, and he's fallen asleep in his chair. In the original, this is where you can get a date with different party members. I always really liked Aerith's date. It's really sad before she dies. And she suggests that she's kind of already worked out Cloud's and Zack's identity twist. Akachi really drags out this emotional scene where he sacrifices himself to solve the puzzle of the Temple of the Ancients. But he's literally back 5 minutes later with a new body. That kind of felt a bit awkward in the original. Be interesting to see what happens in Rebirth though. Another scene I really like is in Cloud's dreams. We see the ancient forest and Aerith going ahead to save the world. And you just see Sephiroth slowly descending from above, stating that Aerith needs to be stopped or dealt with. I love that little moment, and Sephiroth is a badass here. And the majority of the stuff that happens from here on is all really important. The City of the Ancients, Aerith's fate, Genova, snowboarding, Sephiroth messing with Cloud. I reckon Rebirth will end with Sephiroth's rebirth, but there's loads of debate to be had on where Rebirth may actually end. So I'd like to do a little video on that in the future. What are your favourite scenes in Final Fantasy VII that you'd like to see kept faithful in Rebirth? Let me know in the comments, and peace for now.